I'm Rosemary and welcome to the singing pool. Today I am going to be showing my decks, Oracle and Tarot. Mostly for people who are interested in getting into it, but if you're curious about what decks I use or anything like that, that's what we're going over today. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one that I bought recently. This is the new Mythic Tarot. I'd get the box, but it's at the bottom. So, it's Greek mythology. The book that it comes with is massive, and it actually has stories from Greek mythology. And honestly, it's a little tedious to go through, but I'm really into mythology, so that was the first deck that I got when I got back into reading tarot. And since this one is also already out, this is the Dark Woods Tarot. This is my favorite deck. The art is beautiful, and these, unlike this deck, which is the mythology, which doesn't speak to me much. It really doesn't like to tell me anything. This one speaks quite a lot to me personally. And the art, like I said, is beautiful, which I'm kind of picky about. If I don't like the art, then I'm probably not going to enjoy using the cards. This one I will show you the box, simply because I want to get the book out and show it to you as well. The book it comes with is really beautiful. Let me see if I can find a good illustration. That's the Emperor. It has, of course, the Fool's Journey in it. And my favorite thing about the way that it is written in this particular book is that it feels like a story, like a little fairy tale. Which is something that I personally enjoyed about it. I'll go ahead and show you a couple of Oracle decks. Oracle decks. This is the Goddess Power Oracle. I use this one mostly as a clarifier type deck. Wow. With the Monology Oracle, which you've probably seen these because they're pretty popular, and if you watched my last video, then you have definitely seen most of these cards. So these are useful. I think that personally I wouldn't use these without the Monology deck, but that's just me. Or at the very least pair it with another Oracle deck. I have a ton of colors. The Spiritsong. I'm not going to take all of them out, but this one is really helpful when you're learning the cards, because it does have meanings on each of them at the bottom. And the only thing is, it's like with this one, the Nightmare Before Christmas, which, unlike with this one, I do get confused with these. The the names, this one is the wands are candles, the swords are needles, pentacles are coins, whichever you prefer, are presents, and cups are potions. So sometimes I get confused with these, but I mean, it's pretty obvious why I got that one. This one, crystals is wands, cups are shells, acorns is pentacles, and feathers is swords. So, other than that, and there's a couple of major arcana that are different in this deck as well. This one I just got yesterday, actually. I've been looking at it for a while, and I will take these out simply because there's something about this deck that I really liked. And I didn't mention it before, but these are standard size. It's a standard size deck, like a normal tarot size. It comes with this little booklet, which is helpful if like you don't want to get a huge box like these over here. But one thing that I do like better about the other decks, like I love this deck. It's really cool. Like I said, I'm all about the artwork. And unlike some of my others that I can't really show you very much of because they're a little risque, like the mythology one, because I mean honestly, in Greek mythology, when have you not seen naked people? And the dark woods, because quite a few of them are underclothed, if you will. But I can actually show this one, even when there is nudity. It's not like explicit. But one thing that I like about this deck and these over here, as opposed to the ones I've already shown you, they're smaller. I have small hands, so that's something to take into account when you get cards. Since I've already shown you them, I'll show you with this deck the size difference, because these are small. And next to this deck, you can see the difference in size. And so this is more difficult to shuffle, and this is much easier. Like I don't have a hard time with shuffling these, but with, say, these, I have a little bit, see how much, I have a little bit of a struggle. So even though they're my favorite cards, it's a little more difficult. So if you have smaller hands, then I definitely recommend smaller cards, pocket size. The only, this is the Shadowscape Tarot. The only thing that I don't like about the smaller ones in this particular deck is how small the words are. If you don't have bad eyesight, like I'm nearsighted, so it's difficult for me to read them. But if you don't have that problem, then disregard. And this is why I don't want to take them out of the box. You might, if you're one of those people who's picky about details, you may have noticed I have 2 boxes of this one. There's actually a story behind that. Hopefully it never happens to any of you. I got this one at Barnes & Noble. And I'd been looking at it for a while. I thought, well, I'll go ahead and get it. So, this was when I was relearning everything, because between 13 and 28 you kind of lose a lot. And so I asked the cards, you know, just thought, well, maybe I'll ask the cards what I should start learning first. And the cups came out. I was like, okay, cool. So I start, you know, there's a word here I'm looking for it. Separating the cards. And the 6 and the 4 of cups were both missing. I take that as spirit being like, girl, you need to do something about this, because none of your readings are going to be right if you don't have those cards. So I ordered this one to replace it, because I couldn't find those full size at the time. And I couldn't return this one, the bigger one, because I had lost the receipt. So, you know, word to the wise, be more organized than I am. But it's fine. This deck also talks a lot, and so does the Shadowscapes deck. The Celtic one talks some, but like I said, I just got it, so I'm still playing around with it. This one, I think this deck is hilarious, personally. That's like the whole reason I got it. It has, I know I got it for humor. It has some language. This is technically the back of the card, and this is the front. So I showed this to my dad, and he was like, well, you can always use them to do tarot readings in biker bars. Okay, I mean, if they're down with it. But they're funny and maybe a little inappropriate. This is the first deck that I got when I got back into it. It's an Oracle deck, the Isis Oracle. I love these. The art, like I said, I'm an art snob. I can't find a really pretty one. There we go. It's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Depending on the reading, sometimes I'll do these first, because they kind of tie everything together, and sometimes I'll do them at the end, because I like that most of these are affirmations or like encouragement, like coming into your own, that sort of thing. A few of them, I think 2 or 3 of them, are kind of like warnings that you need to check people's vibes, you know, vibe check, and that you need to just be careful who you spend your time with and what you tell people, that sort of thing. So it's helpful, and it's good advice regardless. And I keep forgetting that this is in here. This one I am still learning, mostly because Chinese zodiacs. Oh, I didn't even show you the box. This is the Chinese Zodiac Oracle. I like them in that they can kind of, when I learn them properly, they can kind of not replace, but they kind of be like Archeo type cards. Because you have each card, each zodiac, you have 2. You have the yin and the yang. I did those backwards. That's okay. You have the yin and the yang, and you have, such pretty artwork too. Of course, I'm showing you this one. Oh, but the book, really quickly, the most helpful thing about this book, other than the fact that it tells the characteristics of each of the signs, it has dates in it. So that's helpful. I am personally, let's see if I can find mine. And since I went ahead and showed you this one, this is by the same artist, the Zodiac Oracle. This is the one that most people are more familiar with. It's got, there's Aquarius, elements too. Here I'm trying to find out a planet. It's not particularly helpful. Okay, here we go. So it has planets, elements, and the zodiacs themselves, which is always helpful. And it kind of squishes everything together. The last two, this one I also just got recently. If you're over here from my Instagram, then you've already seen it, or at least seen the box. I originally was going to do an unboxing with this one, but I got curious and it's been like a week, so since I got it, that seems like quite a while. But the booklet is helpful. Well, it's a full book, not a booklet. And the cards, like I said, artwork. These are archetype cards. If it wasn't obvious, the Archeo. They're really quite pretty. I'm looking for the prettiest ones, obviously. Some of these can be a little disconcerting, but mostly because, like, everybody has a dark side, and every type of person, there's the possibility for, you know, negative traits. Of course, we all have them. The Observer is the one on the front of the box, and the Magician is on the front of the book. So, yes, there is one in particular I'm looking for because it is absolutely my favorite from this deck. I mean, I like this one too, the Moon Cat, but I'm a cat person, so. And Grace. Is that not beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. And the final deck, once I get all these. Oh, sorry about that, that was loud. And the final, get in there. Okay, thank you. The final deck is the White Light. Hey, sorry I got interrupted at the very last deck. Okay, this is the White Light Oracle. Honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about this deck. It's pretty. It is very pretty, as you can see. I don't think I have a deck that isn't pretty, but, except maybe this one. But, it's a little complicated as far as the book goes. I'm not even sure if I want to bother with the book. I have obviously quite a few Oracle decks, and this is the only one with a book, this deck, that I own. So, I can't see myself reading that much text just for Oracle decks. Yep. So that is all of the decks that I currently own. I'm looking at a few more, but a few. But I hope that this helps if you're looking for decks or you're thinking about getting into tarot. I will say that pick a deck that speaks to you, even like this one speaks to me, even though regardless of the size of the cards, if you like them and you feel connected in some way, or like they call to you or whatever, yeah, you know, you have to start somewhere. You may have noticed I do not have a Rider-Waite deck. I have never owned one. I know that they say that's a good starter. Maybe it is. But I personally cannot attest to that, as I have never used one. And I've never felt the need to. My starter deck was, when I was 13, it was actually the Vampire Tarot. It was, when was it? Middle school. That was like the early 2000s. So, you know, when vampires were like huge. I mean, they're still pretty big, but they're not anywhere near as big as they were then. And I was a kid. I found it online. But I looked at it and I thought, that is the most hideous deck I have ever seen. What was 13-year-old me thinking? So, yeah, you might fall out of love, in and out of love with decks over time. That's normal. Not every deck is for every person. So, and if tarot seems like really, intimidating, like there's so much to learn, there's 78 cards, 156 meanings, if that intimidates you, Oracle decks, they're more, most of them are more straightforward, and they kind of give you more of an answer or encouragement, things like that. They have more on them to go by, basically. With, and another tip with tarot is don't just go by the meaning of the cards. I don't know why I picked these up. Don't just go by the meaning of the cards, you know, because each deck is different. So, say you have, let me see if I can find the same ones in more than one deck. So I can give you an example. You can tell I don't script this. Oh, yes, okay, great. So, the Three of Cups in two different decks. They give two different, like they're similar, but especially in these two specific decks, but they give kind of different vibes. This deck I like for shadow work, personally. This one, like I said, I just got it, so I haven't really spent too much time learning it, but it has like a lighter, more joyful vibe about it. And for some reason, this just reminds me of witches sitting around the cauldron in Macbeth. So, yeah. Each one, go with your gut and what the card says to you. Listen. Basically, listen when Spirit speaks, because just because the card means one thing does not mean that when it comes out, that's exactly what it's going to mean in that specific instance. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for tuning into my video, and I hope to see you next time when I will actually be doing a reading and not just showing a bunch of cards. I hope this helped anybody who is looking to get into tarot. And see you next time. Have a great day or night, whatever the case may be where you are. Bye.